So, hello again. Time to create Helsinki tram line number 2. Line number 2 runs from Ullanlinna all the way to Pasila. And the terminus is at the Olympic terminal, and the line will continue as line number 3. In my previous saves, I've always created lines 2 and 3 together, like I did with the lines I and P, the train lines running over here. But this time I will not do it. I will create lines 2 and 3 separately, because lines 2 and 3 share some stops, and you cannot stop a train twice at the same platform. And that is why I decided to create them separately. Now, the line does a sort of, well, let's say, strange turn here in the city center. It kind of runs. I don't know if you can see my mouse actually, but it kind of runs after the Senaatintori stop. It turns right, and then it runs all the way next to this park before turning left and going down south. And when it goes northbound, it actually goes almost all the way through the Ritarihuone stop and turns from there. But I will do only one part of this track. And the first stop that we create is Kauppatori, which is either on one side of the plaza. Let's call it a plaza, but I will place it a bit further southwards. There is a reason for this. We'll get to that later, but I will misplace the stop a bit, and I have my reasons for doing it. You just have to trust me, okay? And like I said, the track. Wait a second. This is a railroad track. I'm sorry. I am actually supposed to build tram lines. Which is a bit different. There we go. Once again, the creation of tram lines requires quite a lot of. I will just do a shortcut. The track really does not go from here. It actually goes from down there, but I am just gonna be a lazy ass bitch and do it this way. Now, here we go. Once again, creating these tram lines requires a lot more attention than creating train lines, so I'm going to be building more and yapping less, which I think you will be pleased with. Or at least I hope so. The next stop will be Eteläranta. I am actually taking that stop to pretty often because of my work. I have to visit one of the places over here quite often. So in a previous video I told you that my dating life is active, but now I'm telling you that I'm also working, which means I have a life outside of NIMBY Rails, which is pretty healthy. The final stop on this line is the Olympic Terminal, and this, like I said, the line continues down south as line 3, but I'm not creating line 3 at the moment. I'm just creating line 2, which means I have to build a loop. Which in reality doesn't exist, so actually I'm taking pretty big freedoms with this line, but once again, like I said in the description of the channel, I am creating these lines as accurately as I please. And that means that I can do whatever I want, and you will just have to watch it. So, that's the terminus, but I will be creating a part of the track of line 3, and then I will build a loop. And there we go. Not sure how well this thing is going to work, but it's like that. So this end has been created. The tram will run from Olympiaterminaali to Eteläranta, Kauppatori, Senaatintori, Aleksantterinkatu, Mikonkatu, and Central Railway Station. But now there will be something new, because the tram will continue this way, and I said in a previous video this crossing is going to be difficult. I hopefully have built it in a way which will make it less difficult, but let me see. Yes, there is a tram stop over here, which is not the Embassy of Mexico. It's called Simokatu Simonsgatan, but anyway. And then the following stop will be at the metro station, and these rails are actually new, because back in the days when I was living in this area, the trams did not go from here, but okay, well, whatever. I think that should do it. So the tram line actually runs through here. But once again, I lived back in this area. I lived in this area back in 2020. And as far as I know, the trams did go from here to here, but there was no stop in here. So this is actually something new. But sometimes new things happen. And that's life, because the trams used to run through this road over here, and some of them still do. And the next stop is probably going to be Hanken. Hanken is a funny name because it's a nickname for the Swedish-speaking school of economists. Really, in reality, it's called Handelshögskolan, I think, but Hanken it is. There we go. Then the tram runs through this double-laned road all the way until the crossing of the Opera House. There are a couple of stops here, but just a couple of stops. So I think wait a second. Yes. I am once again I'm checking on maps all the time, so it will take time and I will take my time. And I will need to check the maps to get the stops right. There we go. Next stop is obviously called Apollonkatu or Apollo Street, and it will be located by the park over there. The park is named after a famous writer called Mika Waltari, but that's not the name of the stop. There are several tram lines running through this stop, so I will need to once again create the signals over there. Now, next is obviously Töölöntori. As you can see, also this stretch of line is pretty familiar to me, although I never take tram number 2. But I take this line. Now this stop doesn't exist in the old maps I am using, so I will just need to figure out what it actually is called in Swedish. Oh, it's written this way. But the funny thing is, why is there not a stop in there? Because that's a really central location. I mean, I am using an old map from 2017 to figure out the lines, because there are several roadworks at the moment, and several of the lines are on exceptional routes. Also, line number 2 is on an exceptional route, but I am going to create the original route. Which, of course, I hope is the original route, but... And this section of track is currently under renovations, so it's not in use, but as for me, there are no renovations, but we will need a turn. Let's see. I think I will need to move, we'll have to move the signals a bit. So, there. And there we go. Looks nice. Hope it works. So the track, the line will continue to Opera through Töölönhalli, and it will turn away from the main track in here at Kansaneläkelaitos, and actually there will be a second stop in here, and the station will be deleted. Instead, these will be merged into the Kansaneläkelaitos stop. There we go. And the track will turn from there. There will be a crossing over there, so like that. The next stop will be at the Aurora Hospital. Which is obviously over here. It's a psychiatric hospital, I think. If I remember correctly. I can also be mistaken. Oops, that's not supposed to happen. And this is the stretch of track where also line 3 runs. Like I said earlier, the line 2 continues as line 3, and they run, a part of them is on the same line. And this is the part. And the next stop is at eläintarha once again. Yep. The stop is over here. And we're actually closing on the terminus of the line. We're pretty close to it. Just a few stops left, and an interesting part of singular track with a couple of stops. Oops, that one went wrong. So then it will. It will probably stop. I'm not really sure about this, but it will probably stop at the station. And I mean, why wouldn't it? But the fun fact is that the station actually is a bridge. So there. And then we'll also have to delete the station and make it part of the Pasila station, which, yes, it just, well, it works this way, like that. And then we'll get to the interesting part. Because this, I don't know, once again, I don't know if you see my cursor, but the track continues straight until the roundabout, and then it turns left, and it continues all the way to the crossing with two triangles, and it turns left again, and then it goes on to the next crossing and turns left again. So there is a loop in here, and a part of it is a one-way loop. So the next stop is gonna be over here, And this is still double track. But then there is a loop. And this loop is funny because it has several stops. So I will just have to figure out how to create it. And the double track turns over there. And the track continuing from there is a single track. Yes. And the first stops, I will just create all the stops, okay? So, or well, actually there is only one. That's a surprise. I thought there were several, but there is only one stop. Done. And done. And the loop will then return. And there we go. Line 2 has been created, and now, or well, it hasn't been created, the tracks have been built. And now that I've built them, I am able to create the line. So let's go back to where we started from, which is somewhere around here. So the line will start from there and then it will run let me see. Oh, that's the wrong one, so I will run through there. Okay, we are done. But we still need to buy the trams. Let's have a look here. So we have 11 trams at the moment. So mm, we'll be running line 2. And let's see. Well, we need a couple of more of them, I think. Perhaps one more. Still one more. Now it should be done. Yes, so much for line 2. And let's see what I will create in my next video, because I don't yet know. I will have to check the lines and see which line would be simple to create. But so much for this line. Thank you for watching if you've been watching this far.